Now, as for Kendrick Lamar and Akademiks, if you're ready to see how he and his team recently met the last boss of Team Drake and checked him out once and for all, please make sure to leave that like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Now, as for what just really happened, Drake is going to lose it because, in addition to Kaizenat fanboying over Kendrick Lamar, Akademiks has met with Kendrick's people in person and has looked like a complete clown for it. This way, whether they realize it or not, everyone is fleeing from Drake Akademiks and everyone else in their immediate vicinity. After Kendrick Lamar and Dave Free met Kai Cenat at the 25th Annual BET Awards, completely ignored Drewuski and made him look like a bigger clown than ever during it. They also prepared for the next stop on the grand national tour with the show they had in Detroit, bringing the best show in music right now to another city, and giving more fans the chance to witness what is truly a show that is unlike anything else we have seen in hip-hop and really in the entire industry for so long. Despite all of this, there was a surprise at the show, and I suppose you could say that a special guest of some kind was coming out to perform a song with... We can say that with Axe stepping down on what is his rival's side in hip-hop's show, and seeing the show for whatever reason and motive he actually had beyond his initial claims that he is like a food critic for music. That's why he came out here despite not being the biggest fan. However, even with Axe hiding out within DJ Akademiks, the final boss of just being the biggest crash out, and most annoying Drake fan and supporter you ever could be, like Baby Keem, AZ Chike, or Playboy Cardi, as well as what happened while he was here and overall his suite because he didn't want to be seen or disturbed by anyone who might have been upset with him for attempting to discredit Kendrick Lamar and everyone in his immediate vicinity over the past year or so in an effort to help Drake. As Act tried to avoid being discovered and noticed, he encountered the worst people he could have ever wished to see here in none other. Then, according to what Act informed us, TDE and PG Lang representatives met with the man who, in terms of the accusations and stories made against them, has been more widely circulated and made the most obnoxious ever, with A leading the way. Particular. ACT told us about meeting and having lengthy conversations with two of the biggest players in this group of superstars that are currently running hip-hop and music behind the scenes. These individuals are none other than Anthony Sahu, works with Kendrick Lamar as a manager, and, more significantly, who told us how he was vetted by the man who has been a creative star beside him and who has ensured that PG Lang and TDE and everything they put their names on stays putting out top-tier experiences overall in none other than Dave Free. And now with Dave Frey, after Kendrick's best friend and longtime collaborator discovered a hiding place within these suites. ACT informed everyone that they had a fairly in-depth conversation, which is what A ended up telling everyone to hear when he was attempting to narrate this. Experience is that he was truly offended by what Dave Free said to him based on their conversation because, in Axe's own naive words, Dave disrespected everything he quote-unquote stands for because, at their first meeting, Davey simply said the quiet part aloud and asked a direct question. Now, when I say this again, keep in mind that this is a direct question quotation from the past 2 days, with this moment and the BET Awards have given us some of the funniest moments related to Kendrick Lamar, because, in reality, we saw more trolling of Kaizen and Drewy than ever before in this all-time great moment of Dave Kendrick. What are you getting from this? Is Drake paying you? And SZA simply stared at them, their faces telling us everything we needed to know about how they felt to understand what we are hearing now, which is Dave Free asking him directly if he works for Drake. I mean, regardless of your stance, it's hilarious to see how, at this moment, these people are confronting each other with the names that they have disparaged him, and in Axe's case he has based his entire persona and efforts on his actions and words to discredit Kendrick and everyone else, including those in his career, with Dave Free simply asking the questions that everyone has been wanting to know. It's as funny as it is genuine, because really, with Act. Not only that, but he also went on to say that this was the most offensive thing that had ever happened to him. given his history and the fact that he has repeatedly crashed out, it says a lot about him to be checked and exposed in front of some of the people who have been so close to everything he has been covering. If A is as upset as he is expressing, maybe this causes him to think and perhaps even take a step back from what he is saying about how he is simply being disrespectful. There are many ways that he is creating difficulties for no other purpose than wanting to aid Drake without considering anything else. Since Axe stated that he has only been being truthful and that he is not employed by Drake, it is now even more uncomfortable for him because being honest about all he is hiding and not working for Drake is only half the truth. Dave Free, truly, said, "If Drake isn't paying you, how do you lean that much in that direction?" He was so confused that you might be the guy that A is genuinely claiming he was. As Act naturally tried to promote everything Family Matters did as a whole, he cannot be shocked at all and act as though he didn't see this coming. This is because someone is real and who has actually been directly impacted by Axe's own words. And narratives escalated all of this beef, and a lot of what Drake has said more than anyone else really has. I tried to hide things up here, but perhaps even based on what he told everyone and how he specifically revealed that he talked to Dave and other members of Kendrick's team for a long time, a lot more could have been said that he didn't even want to tell us while we don't know. Understand the entire scope of the exchange, what transpired based on what was said, and what we can infer, even though Act is attempting to convey that he is a very fair and honest person when it comes to evaluating music, and particularly Kendrick Lamar. We know that's not the case because, time and time again, Act has revealed personal conversations that he had with Drake to leak direct messages that have demonstrated how Drake has collaborated with individuals throughout Act's team to promote any narratives he desires on pages like Akademiks TV, regardless of the specifics of the situation, and how Act and Drake have agreed to support one another for Act to Act. Once more, he used the word disgusted in response to Dave Free's question, given that he has entire teams that attempt to disparage Kendrick and everyone else around him whenever they have the opportunity to support Drake, and we have once more seen this as the if A is genuinely shocked by this, then let's just say that the impression of A and Drake working together that we all think about isn't as bad in reality. The main person who oversees the Akademiks TV stuff has had direct messages with Drake that we have seen where they are planning what to say and put out again. With all of this, there's a reason why the members of Team Kendrick who work on some of the most significant things rap has ever seen right now are simply telling A what they did. The games could be over if Axe wanted them to be, but regardless of how Act attempted to mislead Dave Free and how Dave Free ultimately ended up, he should just completely change the way he has been moving if this truly meant anything, because from now on, he will at least be informed of how things look by none other than Dave Free, who was about as direct as you can speak to Kendrick Lamar, without speaking to Kendrick. Facing, however you want to put it, regardless of what transpired during this interaction, we can say with certainty that Drake is embarrassed this week once more, because regardless of the cover-up, the guys who should be rushing around and looking out for his best interests are now flocking to Kendrick Lamar, the man who has destroyed his entire career. Act basically sang to him whatever he wanted to hear to demonstrate that he is not associated with Drake, so when confronted about it, Drake must be furious because now the biggest guy that Dave Free and Kendrick have their opinions about Act as a whole. But it's clear that Dave Free was friendly enough to at least have a conversation and hear Act out with this. Based on the interaction and how it went, and how it's now being handled, he has had on his side when it comes to simply speaking and helping him push narratives on any level, at least in terms of the optics on some level, someone who was trying to befriend and appease the competition of the guys that Drake despises. Casanat and Trusky went over everything again in detail. Since A was apparently offended by the conversation he had with Kendrick and his team, and they were wondering why he was so supportive of Drake. A went and told everyone that he had discussed how Drake had done some bad things, and that he now projected them more than ever right in this moment. This is how Dave Ray and Kendrick Lamar are demonstrating that Drake really just keeps losing. More with every move they make. Again, by stating these here and then explaining how he said this in his chat with Dave Free, Kendrick and his group are essentially demonstrating that they are both master trolls and master artists, since he is currently fleeing and informing everyone that he is not on Team Drake and wanting everyone to think it's so horrible that he started bringing up any number of Drake-related incidents that don't look good overall, especially now that A is making more noise than he has in a long time, and seeing Kendrick Lamar perform, and then disparaging Drake in what appears to be this conversation with Dave Free. Whether A realized it or not, the biggest con artist in hip-hop has once again been used, and now Dave and Kendrick's team are laughing at him more than ever. Drake, on the other hand, is upset about this because it makes him appear bad once more. It appears that he doesn't even want to fully support Drake. This is especially true after losing Kai and tampering with Dusky. Akademiks has joined them as the next person Kendrick and his team have encountered, and it will be interesting to see where this goes from here. Akademiks has essentially revealed how he apologized to Dave Dayfree and Team Kendrick for the events that transpired during the beef. And once more, he stated that he has never been more offended. This all just looks awful for them, and once more, aka demonstrated that with this entire side in hip-hop, and because of their inability to come up with a cohesive plan, they simply keep undercutting each other without ever seeming poorer for it. Kendrick Lamar, once again, is a great example of this. Now that all of this has been said, let me know what you think of the entire exchange that took place between Akademiks, Dave Free, and Kendrick's team. Dave Free, the rest of PG Lang, and TDE are taking another win and laughing about it. Drake has never been the bigger loser in this situation. And how do you feel about Akademiks claiming that Dave Free's statement to him about his support for Drake was the most offensive thing anyone has ever said to him in his career? I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, as well as how Kendrick Lamar and his group continue to expose these jerks. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe at the end of the video. It really helps me. If you want to see how this well-before act was embarrassed by attending Kendrick Lamar's show and meeting up with his team, Kendrick just revealed Dusky and Kayat's true selves at the BET Awards, and Drake is now furious because Kendrick has once again turned the tables on him. Watch the recommended video.